conversating here, you know?
Yeah, we just talking without actually getting on here. Hang on a sec here. The rest of the people didn't know that we were still talking here. Here we go.
Love it. We're over here having conversations, and we're ready to go. So let's rip.
Yeah, we rip.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're doing it live. We always stumble into this thing for some reason. Every single time we do these, we stumble into them every time.
Yeah.
But once again, guys, welcome to Bolt Bros. We're a podcast that obviously focuses on the Chargers and its opponents. My name's James. I'm one of the bros, and then my two other actual bros, Kyle and Andy, are here.
Yay.
Woo!
Yeah.
We got a good show ahead of us here. So once again, we're doing it live. So please, if you guys have questions, jump in the chat, kind of let us know what you guys are thinking and what kind of questions you do have. But we got some good subject matter today to talk about. So once again, Bolt Bros, let's get it. Bolt Bros, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I know. Every single time.
It's hyped up. Hyped up.
We're all hyped up. Exactly. We're ready to rip.
That's right. Let's go.
So today, you know, I've had this on my mind because with us, with the Chargers fans, and I think with most sports teams fans, we kind of always look at the puppy dogs and butterfly situation in the off season, all the things that you added to the team, all the additions and all the thoughts of, hey man, new season, new attitude. We're going to get to the Super Bowl. But as Charger fans, I feel like we always are a little bit jaded in a sense of, you know, because we've gone through a lot as having great teams, and we always have these great paper teams, and then ends up that it doesn't work out. So today's, maybe it's going to be a tough subject, but we're going to talk about concerns about the 2022 Chargers today. So
concerns.
All right, we have some big, we have some concerns. Hey man, you know, because that's the truth. Like, you know, what is the one thing, the cycle that we have every single year with the Chargers? You know, we get all this hope, and then you know, then that hope we get crushed, and then you know we start building that hope again, and then here it comes again. You know, like Bohica, baby. Yeah.
It's pretty bad as a Charger fan, and the multiple decades that we've been fans.
Yeah.
It's every year we think, yeah, this could be a really good year. This could be a really good year, and then something happens through the season. And it's just all our hopes and dreams get crushed once again. What does Andy say when you die or whatever, that you're gonna have Charger fans holding your casket?
Oh no. So hey, I want some Charger players to gently rest me down to my resting place so they can let me down one last time.
Yeah. Hey, I'm right there with you, man. It's like, you know what?
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and our hopes and we're coming into this season that we hopefully don't get let down.
Yep.
But you know, really the reality of it is there's only one team in the NFL that's going to win the Super Bowl. So
exactly correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
31 are not going to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very slim margin, and it's a long season, and we hope for the best.
Things have to happen to even get to the Super Bowl, right? I mean, look at the Bengals even last year. Like, quite frankly, I still think they were one of the worst teams to make it to the Super Bowl last year against the Rams, right? So the Rams got lucky. I think it should have been the Bills and Rams. I think that's what everyone wanted to see, or the Chargers potentially. So yeah, you know, you got to get lucky sometimes.
That's all it is. That's all it is. One thing I wanted to bring up, and I know I just started jumping into this. I wanted to show off. I ended up getting a copy of Shock Therapy. Hopefully you guys can see that. So this is a magazine that a Charger fan does out in San Diego, which is cool to see. That he basically creates a whole magazine talking about all last season and all these articles, photos, everything too. Even some of the off-season transactions and everything. And then even talks about kind of what their expectations are for next season.
There's old Mount Zion right there. We got we got lights out. We got lights
out, baby.
Lights out himself right there.
Mount Zion right there. Got the lights out right there.
Yep.
That's sick.
And guess what? I even got it signed by Sean Merriman too.
Nice.
Man, so you got to frame that, dude.
Pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. So hit up Shock Therapy. They're a little podcast too. They got a good Facebook page. I know they've been putting up a lot of little things about kind of like breakout players and stuff like that too recently. So pretty cool, man. But shout out to Shock Therapy for sure. And also, since I had this signed by Sean Merriman, I even wore my Sean Merriman jersey today from back in the day. So 5'6".
There you go.
So
oh man,
shout out to Sean Merriman, man. Man, he was the man back in the days.
Yeah, he was.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's still the man. What are you talking about? He's still the man.
Still the man.
Yeah.
But Kyle, did you have any? I don't know if you had any other.
Oh yeah.
Sort of
so there's there's a couple announcements actually. First and foremost, the end of this month, July 30th, there's another fan barbecue event / baby shower. One of the Chargers fans owns Osito SDCA. He's hosting and having a kind of baby shower for his actually his baby on the way. Another player for the Charger family, but it's gonna be it's really just a fans event to kick off the beginning of training camp and basically the return of football.
Very cool.
It's gonna be down in Carlsbad, basically starting at like 11 o'clock till whenever someone says you ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. So that'll be really fun. And yeah, it's a really good time. Obviously, if you're in the Southern California area, come on through and have a good time. There's gonna be plenty of food. There's gonna be plenty of booze. Whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat. We're all family. So, but then another thing too is that this is kind of I didn't realize that this happened a while ago, but one of the super fans, like the fellow with the sombrero that you always see in the end zone, like being one of the loudest dudes out there, he got nominated for the fans Hall of Fame. And he's going to be going to Canton, Ohio, and be inducted for that in the first weekend of August. And he's part of like the Bolt Pride family. And actually, there's going to be there's kind of a fundraiser for to get a bunch of people from the Bolt Pride family over to support him and stuff. And I already donated like $100 to do that. And if anyone else would like to do that, just to get show support, show some love for one of our biggest fans of the Chargers, feel free to do that. And you can reach out to Johnny Bolt Pride at 619 JBP _619 on Instagram. Reach out to him and and you can I'll drop a link in there in the description so that way people can actually reach out to him and see if you want to support him and to get him out there and stuff and to help out this one of the fans getting the Hall of Fame there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I like it.
Man, how cool is that as a fan?
Heck
Holy
yeah,
smokes.
dude. I was like, oh man.
Jeez.
And now I think we have another dream now, guys. If we get all three of us in there,
Whoa.
Oh man, dude.
That would be amazing.
That would be so incredible. I didn't realize honestly that there was a Hall of Fame for fans. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, even if I just got in the Chargers Hall of Fame, that'd be amazing to me. So
my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Chargers win a Super Bowl, and if you've been hanging on for decades, I think you should get thrown in the Hall of Fame.
I think
absolutely.
All of us, yeah. Anyone who's a Chargers fan should be thrown into the Hall of Fame at that point. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get that Bolt tramp stamp tattoo. We win the Super Bowl. I just gotta decide: do I want the Bolt or do I want the one like you guys got? With the shield and the horse, everything.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to figure that out.
Yep.
Which one do I want to do my tramp stamp tattoo?
I don't know. I mean, this was the logo from the '60s, so
exactly.
It kind of gives you the whole vibe of being there,
the OG.
being an OG fan,
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. Well, I'll call you out on that when we win the Super Bowl, Andy.
Mm.
So we'll go straight to the tattoo shop right after.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'll make it all in black light. So black light ink. So you can only see it in the black light. You know what I mean?
Nice. Nice.
Don't be going to glow golf or anything like that, dude.
Right.
Everybody...
It's like, what the hell is that behind you there, bro? What is that?
Yep. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. All right. Any other announcements at all, Kyle?
No, that's all I got for today. Actually, you know what? Another thing too is that I want to throw out some love to the Charger Bolt family Facebook group. We should, if you're not a member of that one yet, you should definitely jump into that one. It's a really good community. Like they have giveaways a lot. They actually gave me some stuff that I would actually like to use to give away as well. Just haven't quite figured out exactly how we want to put it out there to the community. Like some of the things I got are like obviously some cups. I got some barbecue set aprons that are like Chargers. I even got some signed pictures of Anthony Miller, one of like the classic guys, played in the '90s with Stan Humphries, Natron Means, Junior Seau.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so I got some swag that I can we can give away and stuff. So, but yeah, shout out to Charger Bolt family. Like they're one of the best communities around. Like they're part of Thunder Alley, and they're always at the events. It's literally the guy that organizes this group is the one that wears the bolt inside of the stadium, and of course,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and of course they're trying to get the Chargers a mascot again. And yeah, that was it's one of the big things that they got going on, So like we're trying to get a mascot back and stuff. So it's they're really good. They're awesome people. So hey, you know what?
That's awesome.
Let's bolt up and group up.
That's right. That's right. Hey, let's make a T-shirt out of that. Bolt up and group up, dude.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the episode. And unless you had more to talk about,
that's
Kyle.
it. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Just those three things. Yeah, I'm good to go. Cool. Family, trust, respect. Those three things, baby.
That's right, dude.
Yeah.
FTR.
I like it.
All right, so let's get into it.
Bolt Bros, let's go.
Let's go.
So, once again, biggest concerns of the 2022 season. I mean, like I said, we always kind of go into the off season, and I think every fan base thinks, all right, this is going to be a great season for us. We're going to win because we got this guy and that guy and ... Like, I don't know, as a jaded fan base and me as a fan, how many times have me and just my brothers talk about every season? Yeah, I think it's going to be a great season.
Yep.
And then the wheels fall off somewhere or another, or, we get a disappointing ending to a season or whatnot, like how it was last year. So, I just feel like there's kind of a need to be able to not think everything's puppy dogs and butterflies all the time.
Right.
So,
so it's a realistic episode. Episode.
Yep.
Let's get to the real here, you guys.
Yep.
Let's talk about the concerns that we have for this.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, and we'd obviously, if you guys have any concerns that you would like to talk about, we'll talk about that. Put the questions in there, or concerns that you might want to talk about. But we did write some down here that we would like to chat about. And actually, I think that it's kind of interesting because the first position that we're going to talk about, I think, is kind of an interesting one. It might be a little bit of controversial, but talked about Brandon Staley first off.
Yep. Agreed.
He's only in his second year as a head coach. First year, 9-8, missed playoffs. And we did it kind of in a terrible fashion, but it was one of the most exciting games. Andy and I were chatting about how we just both watched that Raiders-Chargers game again. And
you guys are just like, gluttons for pain, aren't you?
Man, it's crazy.
Well,
but
Charger fan, you have to be willing to take pain, because there's a lot of pain always, with this team, which sucks, but sucks to watch. But it'll be better once we win. Once we win, we'll win the Super Bowl. Everything will be great. You'll feel better about yourself. But the one thing that why I want to put a concern on Brandon Staley is because, first off, he's only in his second year. He learned a lot in his first year. He even talked about that, like, coming into the training camp this year, I kind of know what I'm doing now. Like, kind of have a format now. And I think it's just kind of one of those things that he's still learning on the job. He's never been a head coach at pretty much every level that I know about. He's done a very good job about, since he came in with the Chargers, he's changed the culture, and I think done a great job. But there needs to be that ability to really see that cultural jump and that consistency as a product on the field. And we've seen it in games where it's like, hey, you're on one game and then off one game. Mm-hmm. And we need to find a way to do that. So
correct.
I don't know. I just wanted to see what you guys had thoughts on that too. Like, Andy, I'll start with you and kind of what your thoughts are and a concern with Brandon Staley this year.
Yeah, it's not. See, so my thought is this: it's not just Brandon Staley, right? So Brandon Staley obviously was a linebackers coach in Chicago. The entire coaching staff was never really like, even Joe Lombardi wasn't calling plays, right? He wasn't the offensive coordinator at the Saints. Sorry. So, he had his own learning he had to do as well too, and he doesn't understand his personnel 100%. You never really know how people are going to perform, how routes are going to be run. You can only hope they're going to go a certain way, right? The way the play is drawn up, and you hope it is executed correctly. So it's not just Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley's one problem, but the rest of the team, the rest of the coaching staff is the other part of the problem too, right? Yep. And so it's not really just one person; it's the entire staff, right? This is why I go back to this season. You got two new coaching staffs in our division, right? You got the Raiders, and then you got the Broncos. Two new head coaches. Yep. And look, this is what happened last year. We had high hopes, and it didn't work out for us. I would still say that I don't think those two teams are really going to be that great. I still think it's going to boil down to the Chargers Chiefs, in my opinion. And that's really why. It's the coaching. Another year together. They've already created a great culture. So that's kind of how I view it, right? It's you got to have a tribe to be successful. And I think they created a great culture. But I think there was also some gaps and some missed opportunities, right? Mm-hmm. So anyways, that's my take. Kyle, what do you think on that? And then Ethan, we'll get to your question here in a second as well, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how long of a career or contract Staley signed. I'm assuming it's a 4-year career contract, at least, to really get everything ahead. And honestly, the first years are always a little rocky. There's a little bit of growing pains always. So I can't really fault him too much on that. Just kind of but now he actually has the team that he wanted. He was very limited the first year, and he was just hoping to get what he needed for the defense this year. First year was offense, and clearly we got it all now. We got it all now, baby. Yeah. So.
Yep.
But yeah, is he on the hot seat after this year if we don't make the playoffs? I would say so. Yeah. 100%. I mean, if he
it's LA too. It's LA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's LA.
Yeah.
You win or go home. That's it. You're done.
Right. Yeah. If you're not performing well, then you got to go, bro. It's this is not a city that really takes kindly to failure.
Exactly correct.
At all.
Yep.
100%.
Exactly.
And so I mean, I don't know though, but see now Sean Payton coming, kind of throwing that out there. I mean, I don't know if I would want him necessarily. Yeah, sure, he was a Super Bowl winning coach as well, and he knows how to get things done. But I don't see him necessarily being what we need. It would be good for Lombardi because they worked together already.
Correct.
So our offense could be even more lights out. But then I don't know. Could our offense even be more lights out? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we're top 5, right? If you get top five, sorry,
you're good.
That's about as good as you really need to get, right? Of course.
Right. So.
Right.
Yeah. So
and the thing about Sean Payton, though, it's an interesting thing about him because, I mean, and once again, rumors are rumors. I mean, even to say the other team they talked about was the Dolphins in that article too, and they Cowboys. Just got a new head coach too.
Right.
And the Cowboys probably make the most sense.
Yeah.
Just because the inconsistency of products and obviously I don't think that McCarthy is that good of a coach anyways. He seems like his best days are behind him kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that makes the most sense for the Chargers to be able to give up on Brandon Staley in year 2. I mean, it has to be an absolute disaster for him, in my opinion.
That's my thought. It would have to be like an implosion, right? We end up 3rd or maybe 4th in the AFC West, and but again, right? Again, going back to what we were discussing, right? He's a young coach, right?
Yeah.
He has not been. Look, we don't know everything all at once, right? He's very smart. Yep. He gets what he's doing. But again, it's different being a coach and then you're a head coach, right? It's a very different type of skill set, right? So, and again, every coach on our team is dealing with that and figuring out how to do things better, right? So, no, it'll be very interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think there's pressure there, right? I mean, just like New York, right? You got to win in New York, right? You got to win. They will eat you alive.
Oh yeah.
So, but I hope he gets it done, right? Because I would hate. Here's what I would hate. I would hate for us to let him go and he goes to the Raiders or the Broncos, and then just becomes this amazing head coach and just absolutely dominates as a head coach for 20 years, that would break my heart, right? Because it's a lot like what we've done in the past. I mean, think of Koo, our kicker, right? Think of all the kickers we've had that we let go, and they've had amazing careers after they left the Chargers. So that would break my heart if that were to happen. Here's the thing, though. He has all the talent. His staff has all the talent. They just got to put it together. But that's the story every year. They just got to put it together.
Right.
So
it is.
It's same happens with Drew Brees. Remember, like, I mean, it was
exactly.
He actually specifically told them, it's like, getting Rivers that year was the worst mistake they ever made. And like, and he was gonna make them eat that trade. Like, obviously they developed a kind of a working friendship or whatever, like Brees and Rivers before after a while, whatever. But I mean, Brees won a championship for New Orleans.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
So, and that really just kind of brings me to a point too. Would we have actually beaten the Patriots in 2007 playoffs? Was it? It was the 2006 season, but the playoffs. Would we have actually gone on? I don't know though. I mean,
we'll never know.
We'll never know.
You just never know, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? It's one of those things.
Shoulda.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that was the start of Brady's dynasty. He was just unstoppable. At that point, he already sold his soul to the devil. So
he did.
So
did Bill Belichick too.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
That's right. So like, ain't nothing gonna stop that. So yeah. So
and the interesting thing about the Brees River situation, though, there was such a fragmented situation there with management from Marty Schottenheimer and AJ Smith, and how they weren't basically on the same page. AJ Smith was very much a hard-headed GM. It's my way or the highway. I don't care your thoughts, And then Marty had a different idea that he wanted to stick with Brees, and they ended up drafting Rivers for whatever reason, and I could understand. It's not like Brees really started very well with us by any means, but I think Brees wanted to win a Super Bowl with LT, and LT wanted the same here too. And so you never know, man. I mean, you never know. I mean, if we did have Brees, he would be a little bit more in his 5th, 6th year, I believe, in the league at that time. He would have been more ready for that position versus Rivers at that time. So who knows, man? Who knows? But we'll never know. We'll never know if that did happen. But my hopes is that, and it seems like with this offseason, Brandon Staley and Telesco are very much on the same page. It seems like they're very much into the knowledge of what's going on. So there's going to be no static there. So, but I think both of them, they have to be looked at if this is a big failure at that point.
Yeah. And again, they're investing a lot of capital, right? Spanos is finally putting money out there. They're going to get big contracts. They're throwing some cash around, right? And that doesn't come without a cost, right? That's going to hurt the owner's pocketbook. And we got to win, right? We're sharing a stadium with a team that just won a Super Bowl last year, right? We are the redheaded stepchild, so we need to prove that we are contented to be with as well too.
Right.
So, Kyle, should we answer Aether's question? I know he answered, or he threw it out there a little while ago.
Yeah. So
let's take time for a question, and then we'll move on. Actually, he's talking about the defense, anyways. So you want to go with that, Kyle?
Sure, that's good. So let's go back. Where is this question? See, I wish that we had the system like guilty as charged in there. Okay, so. Says Ether's question is, if our defense and offense is in top 3 and we are healthy, can we become the 7th team to win 15 games, or 2 teams only to win the Super Bowl plus 15 regular season games? My answer was straight out the gate, absolutely. If we can stay healthy, on both offensively and defensively, we're 100% going to go all the way. I mean, that's just
agreed.
Yeah. I mean, let's just bring it back to the sunshine and rainbows thing. It's like, I mean, we have such an all-star cast of a freaking team right now. Like we're gonna be an unstoppable force. I mean, a lot of teams going into this season are fearing us. But that first 4 games are really going to determine if they are going to continue to fear us. So. And if we're healthy, then even more so.
I mean, I would even say this too. If we are even a top 10 defense, we can do that.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. We were a top 5 offense last season. I think we'll easily be around the same, if not better, because I do think we're going to have a running back 2 in Isaiah Spiller.
Yep.
That just makes it even easier for our defense to stop. So we don't even have to be that great. We just bend, don't break. Remember last season specifically, if you think about the statistic, I think we averaged 29 points a game offensively, but we gave up 27 points a game on the defensive side.
Sheesh.
So we just lower that number down just a little bit. We eliminate the close games and we put people to sleep. Sorry, you're done. You're not even playing anymore.
Right.
And, and with the depth that we have, you could have like Khalil Mack take a series off here and there. Let Kyle Van Noy do some edge rushing for a while.
Yeah.
Let Joey Bosa take a series off here and there. Also, obviously, Austin Eckler is going to be taking series off. So with the depth that we have, it's going to help everybody across the board. So I think that's absolutely 100%, 100%.
Well, I'm going to bring it back and reel you guys back into concern.
Okay. All right.
Here.
Yes. Yeah.
So we talk and we compare about this team a lot as the 2006 Chargers. I mean, a very star-studded team from all dimensions of this team. And I remember being a season ticket holder during that time. And
I remember that.
LT winning the MVP, just absolutely dominant on the field. Really kind of held back Phillip Rivers on his throwing game. They relied heavily on the running game. Defense was number one. Offense was number one. We were just killing teams.
Yeah.
And I remember it was interesting with that year. It just felt like it was just automatic that we're going to win every game. I mean, we were 14-2 that season.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome year. Guess what? We still won the number one seed. We had home field advantage, and the Patriots come in and they beat us.
Yeah.
And nothing's automatic by any means.
Nothing is ever automatic.
Nothing's guaranteed either, especially not,
Nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
And at the same time, like, I don't know, man. You could have the best situation you possibly can, and you'll find there could be a mess up at some point because you just come in with this high swagger thinking that you could just steamroll through anybody. And guess what? You get crushed by a quarterback and greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. He's basically the guy that crushes dreams. And I don't know. Going into, say, preseason, or in a postseason this year, I know we don't know what teams are in there, but you got to think Josh Allen's out there. You got to think, Mahomes. You got to think there are some elite quarterbacks in the AFC that could be those kind of guys and those dream breakers. And my thing is, this team has guys that have won championships, but at the same side, we have a lot of guys that have not been in the playoffs.
True.
Correct.
Too. So it's a first-time experience for them, and it's totally different. And I'll bring that up as an example of, like, playing in competitions. Like, Andy and I, we play pickleball. I play in tournaments every now and then. And it's different from playing just standard, just going to any court and playing with them versus going into a tournament. It's turned up, basically, at that point. The competition is that much better. So if you don't know how to turn it up at that level and to put it up a higher notch after playing 17 games, you'll probably end up losing.
Exactly.
And Brandon Staley's been to the playoffs as a coach, but at the same side, he's never done it as a head coach. Herbert hasn't been to the playoffs.
Same with our staff. Yep.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of little things out there that you have to think, and those are the X factors of where you could fail. So even if you go in, to me, the record means nothing going into the playoffs.
Right.
Exactly.
No, it does. Yeah, you're right.
Think of Sheila Manning. They won. They won the wild card spot. They got hot when they needed to.
Yeah, exactly.
And they won.
They won.
And they beat the Patriots.
Every single one.
They beat the Patriots
twice.
And again, and this is a great point, right? Patriots didn't beat us. This is Charginista.
Yeah.
Marlon McCree sounds familiar. Exactly correct, right? We beat ourselves. That is a huge issue, right? Part of the reason why it's nice to have depth is when you bring somebody in with depth, you're not going to create errors or beating yourself up, missing coverage, right? I mean, we could talk about so many people that just got demoralized last year on our defensive side or anything in that side. So beating yourselves is immediately going to destroy the team and obviously morale, and you can't win games that way, right? Yeah. So you got to eliminate the errors, not be amazing at everything, but be good enough at most things, right? Yep. And you'll usually win the games.
Right.
So
be consistent, play
smart. It's the ultimate team sport.
Yeah. Right.
Ultimate team sport.
It really is. There's one other thing I want to talk about with that 2006 team is like, I believe like one of the other podcasts was talking about this a lot too. And I was chatting with him about it. Is that Marty Schottenheimer, he's an amazing coach, very winning
Yep.
coach during the regular season.
Amazing.
Horrible in the playoffs. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
he like could not win a game in the playoffs if it was handed to him.
Yep.
I mean, I love the guy to death. Like, and he does bring a lot of good like coaching to the team. From what I saw, he was amazing at coaching, keeping the players in line or whatever. But something about the playoffs, he just changes his entire mentality. And I think I even remember like that there was a time that he was out there on the field in Qualcomm, and he was like, like they had planned for how they were going to play against the Patriots, whatever, and then he just wanted to change it up like last minute or whatever, and that was clearly the wrong move. So,
Yep.
But yeah, and then obviously like I think they fired him like soon after that year, or like, and then that was a terrible move too, though. He could have kept it going.
Yeah.
So that was just one thing. I mean, I don't want to speak ill of the dead or whatever, but and I know he's potentially on the ballot for getting into the Hall of Fame, which I think he should. I think he should get into the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
He's a fantastic head coach, right? He changed the game. He was fantastic.
Yeah. So
Yep.
like
He was great.
Taylor was like 15 years with the Chiefs, and then like the Browns and the Chargers. Come on, that's an accomplishment in itself. So.
Yep. And we also followed up with a question of just saying, like, if we actually do, would the GM and the head coach get an extension? And, you never know. I mean, who knows? I mean, I would imagine that their jobs would be secure at this point.
Yeah.
For the time being. I mean, once again, NFL stands for not for long, in my opinion.
Yep.
And, your job is week to week, day to day, in my opinion. And
100%.
so
Exactly.
if you start screwing up, you're out.
It's performance based, 100%, right? I mean, there's a lot of money on the line, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the owners are putting money on the line, but yeah, I would definitely say if I would say this, if they get to the AFC West champion, or well, if they win the championship of the AFC West, and make it to the AFC Championship game, absolutely extensions for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Get to the Super Bowl, absolutely an extension for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But again, right, like. Look, I think a lot of things have to go wrong for us to be bad. If that's probably what I'm getting at. But again, it can happen. That's what we're getting at, right? Mm-hmm. Is that unfortunately, good things also have to happen for us to be successful as well too. So
right.
That's good. Absolutely. So do we want to move on to our next topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
I was actually going to stay. Well, did you have something to say, Kyle?
No. I was just going to say, if you had some more comments, let's go. Yeah.
And I guess I was going to kind of jump ahead of where we were at on our notes on this and everything. I was going to jump back to the coaching and stay in the coaching side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the offensive play calling and specifically Joe Lombardi. And how we talked a little bit about how, he's a new coach, as in being in the OC. You'd hope that he would actually get things really rocking and rolling. And the thing is, we're going to have the same guys in the same system for a second year, basically. So you would think now at this point, everybody understands everything, understands what plays are being called, how to run the plays and execute better at year 2. So you just hope that's going to be the case. Now, the thing is, going into year 1, and I'm going to focus on what we know and how the system went, is that I feel like games have started out flat with us a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yep. And there was a lot of question marks about his play calling. A lot of people talked about his play calling being very kind of vanilla a little bit as well too. Yep.
Right. And going back to, and I'm doing this just because I saw this game recently, but I feel like there was some 4th down calls, and I think it was actually when we were at our 25-yard line or 30-yard line, and we went for it on 4th down, and the play before we ran it Eckler up the gut, didn't get it.
Yeah.
And then we did that for the 4th down
and
call.
And Darius Philon stopped him twice, by the way. It was the same exact running play. Same running
play. Like, roll out Herbert so you could give him the option to throw the ball or run the ball, or anything different, like quick slants. I don't know, something different. Those are things that just gives me shades of Anthony Lynn sometimes, where it was just conservative, like really odd calls. Why do the same thing when it didn't work that one time? Like, try something different. Give your chance of your mobile quarterback to even get that extra yard that you need or whatever it is to get the first down. Try something different. I don't know. It really frustrated me to watch that. So, I mean, albeit we still were a top 5 offense. Great. I mean, I think we were the 5th highest scoring team in the league.
Yes.
Great. But there's certain times of calls that just didn't make sense. And I felt like our team sometimes just didn't start the game on fire. And you can't just expect that with every game, but we need to get moving faster, in my opinion. So
sure.
What's your guys' thought?
I'll give you one thought. I'll give you one thought on that. And it goes back to my short that I did last week about the running game. That again, we got Zion on the right side now. Well, you got to remember we ran the ball on average 3 yards a carry on the right side last year.
Yeah,
3 yards. 3 yards.
Hardly anything.
On the right. Oh, excuse me. Left side. We got 6 yards per carry on average.
Yep.
So I promise you, he went back to the well thinking, okay, well, we got 6 yards. Let's go for it. Well, you don't run the stupid same play over again, right? Which is exactly what he did. And so that was okay, switch it up. Maybe do a toss, do something different, right? But don't do the exact same play. NFL is not stupid. These players are the best of the best.
Yeah.
You cannot be predictable. Who was the offensive coordinator that we had that was always so predictable? It was run, pass. I'm drawing a blank.
That was basically Anthony Lynn, though.
Well, Anthony Lynn for sure. But who was before Anthony? I'm just drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
I think
Mike McCoy.
McCoy. Yes, McCoy was that way.
Yeah,
100%.
I was going to say Norv Turner. Basically,
Turner was that way. Yeah. Oh yeah, Norv Turner was exactly that way. Yes.
We have had a long stretch where they were just so predictable. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And you cannot be predictable. These are the best of the best. So again, go back and watch my short and agree or disagree with me on some of these, because I started thinking about this a lot. And I really think there's a lot of 2 running back sets that we could run if we really have Austin Eckler and we have Isaiah Spiller producing. Oh my God. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Think about it for a second. I'll go back to one of my thoughts on there. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Parham, and then you got Gerald Everett, and then you got Isaiah Spiller, and then you got Austin Eckler. Yep. You joking me? Yeah. There are 6 studs out on the field. Who's going to get the ball?
Yeah.
And there's so many Okay, there we go. Ken Wisenhunt. I like that. There we go. Ken Wisenhunt. Ken Wisenhunt was horrible. Thank you, Felix. I appreciate that. But my point is, you have so many weapons. Be creative, right? Plus, you got a Justin Herbert who can RPO that's all he did in Oregon, right? Yeah. That's all he did in Oregon. So there's so much more we can do. I guess going back to your Joe Lombardi thought is, he needs to be a little more creative. Yeah. That needs to happen. So I'm hoping they get a little more creative and start mixing in a lot more, sweeps, a lot of, more screens. There's a lot of little things we could do better. So anyways, that's a pretty long-winded response there. But
well, I mean, coaches is a big thing about it, So
exactly
we have to get that all squared away, So yeah.
Well,
and besides injuries, guys, what are your concerns on our coaching staff? Maybe put down what's your biggest concern? Offense, defense, special teams? What's your biggest concern for us moving into this next year in the comments below?
And the one thing too about Joe Lombardi too is I'll say every team, when they start up with a game in the ball and they know they're going to have the ball in their hand, they usually have a set 20, 25 plays that they're going to run. Mm-hmm. And they say, because based upon the film they looked at.
All pre-scripted.
Yeah, it's pre-scripted. And for some reason, we've had 3 and outs a lot and not really trying to do anything to push the ball down the field and just feeling very slow and trying to get that ball moving, get momentum behind our offense. And so I ended up doing a little bit more digging and maybe getting a breakdown of the amount of touchdowns per quarter just to see what it looks like. And I always kept looking at it first quarter being kind of the big issue, which was a big issue.
Mm-hmm. It was.
And I broke down each quarter just to kind of say all right, let's see where we got hot and think about the season and how the season went. Because there was a lot of times where we're in the fourth quarter and we're okay, the Browns game and the Steelers game, let's just throw the ball all over the place. Right. Raiders game. Right. And it was kind of desperation time at that point. And so I broke it down by quarter and just to be able to look at it, I thought first off the first quarter was going to be the worst for touchdowns. And I'm only basing this on touchdowns. I'm not basing it on field goals, just touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah.
So first quarter, we only scored 10 touchdowns all season.
Wow.
10.
That's bad.
Really?
See, and you know what, James? That's 100% coaching. That's preparing the team.
Yeah.
And getting the players ready to see what they're going to see on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
That's 100% coaching. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a good look in my opinion.
No.
That doesn't seem like we're really, really starting out with the right 25 plays or whatnot. Like, we really didn't do enough deep diving to know where their weaknesses are to where we could exploit them. It's almost like they were just poking at the bear, just seeing kind of where the weak point would be with no real like goal to it.
Yeah.
And then, oh, well, now we figured something out kind of later on. Did we just adjust to some other 25 plays or whatnot? I mean,
yep.
I don't know. It just really kind of was like a crazy stat to look at. And then I saw quarter 2, we scored double that, so we did 20 touchdowns. So it kind of took like a quarter to figure it out. And then after halftime, it gets worse for us. It was only 4 touchdowns all season in the third quarter.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh.
That's not good. So like start of the game, we basically were 10 touchdowns. After the half, we only did 4 all season.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? The biggest quarter for us was fourth quarter.
Right.
25 touchdowns. Why was that? Because we basically had 2 quarters that we really didn't score a lot on.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you could maybe look at other teams and say, oh, well, it could even out to where you get 5 touchdowns from fourth quarter. That could be moved to the third, or maybe it could look a little bit more even to where you don't see that as much as an issue. But once again, we kind of almost like took off 2 quarters and really kind of just try to figure it out again, or try to get revamped up or get the offense rolling again. And I want more of a consistent product calling with him to where he's really getting this team in the right motion. There was a lot of times that I would even say like Herbert should have ran that ball in for a touchdown. And I'll point to that when it was against the Chiefs game, when he threw the ball to Mike Williams. Mike Williams got injured. Parham got injured in that same one. 2 plays before that, he should have ran in for a touchdown. And guess what? We didn't get a touchdown on that drive. And so I see things like that should be coached up a little bit more. So I don't know.
You know, I'm going to give you one thought, and I don't want to get too off topic. And Ethan, we're going to come to your question here in a second too. Yeah. So I always come back to the Steelers in a weird way, right? By the way, Kyle, you and I were at the Steelers game last year. That was absolutely amazing.
So good.
Literally heart attacks. But here's the thing. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. And I think about also Phil Rivers, and Phil Rivers was drafted with Sheila Manning and Ben Roethlisberger, right? But they both got Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, they got
the problem.
They got that jewelry.
They got the jewelry. But here's the thing though. What did those teams do that they did not do for Phil Rivers? They did not put a team around Phil Rivers to make a cohesive team to win. Right? Yep. Now, arguably, we have done everything we need to do to make this team win. So when we start talking about hot seats of coaches and all these different people, I think very, very quickly we can start seeing things. There's some pressure. There's some pressure on us this year, right? I mean, I promise you, Brandon Staley went to Dean Spanos and said, hey, look, you want to win. We need better players. You need to go spend some money. Mm-hmm. Go get Khalil Mack. Go get J.C. Jackson, right? So the nice thing is, though, we have all the talent around them. Now, that does say this, though. The coaches have nowhere to go at this point. We got you everything you wanted, and you didn't perform.
Yep.
What's the problem, right? What do we need to do now? And as a manager, it's tough, right? It falls back on the leadership. So, so I think it'll be really interesting to see. Look, this is a fascinating year. I think it'll be very interesting to see. And I know I've been talking quite a bit here, Kyle, but what are your thoughts on this? Wrapping this up here.
I mean, 100%. Like I think we kind of beat this one like with a dead horse, though. I mean, we're very passionate about it, though. So I'm just like, but yeah, I mean, just kind of to wrap it up, straight up, if it's not the players, because we know the players all have the potential on the field to make things happen, it's gonna come down to the coaching. And like in the play calling has to be like much better. It has to be, because the one thing that I was gonna say is that with Ken Wisenhunt, Norv Turner and Colt McCoy, it was always run first, and even Anthony Leon, run first. Now we're like pass first, because I mean that's why we had 5,000 yards passing and so many touchdowns with Rivers, or not Rivers, with Herbert. it was just a pass happy offense, and granted, that's why we had so many touchdowns in the fourth quarter, because we were so far behind. The only way to get that ball downfield fast enough, and to score points, is to pass it. I mean, that's just what that really tells me too is that just means that we're behind and we have to catch up.
Correct.
And that's
we're getting panicky.
Yeah, we're getting panicky and stuff, and so we can't do that. Like the fourth quarter should be when we're running the ball, just getting garbage yards. And we're just chewing up clock, just taking 10 minutes off the clock each possession. Like, just that's about it, That would be amazing.
Long drives.
Well, that's a long drive, Yeah. I mean, at least 6 minutes off the clock per possession.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
So
agreed.
That's that.
Agreed.
So so that's why we need Spiller to pick up at where Austin Eckler left off, or we need Roundtree even to step up, or Joshua Kelly. I don't hate any of these running backs that we got, but we just need to give them the opportunity to run that ball and to chew up that clock. So those are my last thoughts on that one. But
yeah, that's true. I mean, and the one thing too, and we are very much a pass first type team, and the thing is, though, there was a lot of times that I didn't feel that Lombardi was really exploiting our strengths and taking advantage of it. And Herbert's one of our strengths, and that's why we passed the ball, and that's why he got over 5,000 yards last season, because he was throwing the ball downfield. Now, I do think that Lombardi was a little conservative on not trying to push the ball downfield.
I agree.
And that's kind of where it kind of hindered our progression sometimes on these drives. So I think that's something that'll come around.
I'm a big believer of punching somebody in the face. What's that old saying with Mike Tyson?
Oh yeah,
y'all got a game plan until you get punched in the face, right? And look, here's my point, right?
Yeah,
that happens. What if they get a bomb on us? First quarter, first play. Holy smokes!
Yeah, it demoralizes.
But
100%.
Exactly correct. And so, and I don't want to go too much into this, but I think what you guys are all saying, at least what I'm thinking, is that Joe Lombardi was extremely predictable to some degree last year.
Sure.
But I will go back to this though. I do think that we really limited the plays that we were running with Justin Herbert because he was so new as well, and it was a new offensive system. So maybe that should be a good lead into some of the questions we have here too. And then I have some more thoughts on that as well. So I'm going to read Aether's question, then we'll go to you, Charge and Issa, real quick. So and by the way, guys, if you have questions, put them in the comments.
Yeah, we'll make sure to get to all of them before we close. So
exactly, right. Again, so. I like this. Aether, great comment. This is what I want from Herbert to be a young Brady. Take what the defense gives you and have a great defense this year. Look, I'm going to give you my thought on this specifically, and I talked a little bit about this on one of my other videos, one of my shorts I did too. I think this year, I hope this year that they open up the full playbook. And what I'd like to see, Justin Herbert is a very smart person, right? You guys all know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And he loves football. He loves football.
All he does is study and think about football.
Yep.
What if they made him the general on the field, like Phil Rivers was, like Peyton Manning was? All right, you got 3 play calls out of the same set. Or maybe here's a run play, here's a pass play, and then here's your option, right?
Yep.
And then let him choose what he wants to do at the line and make that play call at the line. So because I really do think coaches can get very predictable, right? And I think that's what we saw. We saw Joe Lombardi get extremely predictable, but it's because he's just sitting there reading and just throwing things out there. But the guy on the field who can think and make split decisions that are right for that moment, that's huge. And that would be the big difference for me. So I want to see that. More audibles, more letting Herbert be the general on the field. That would be my take. And Aether, I do think that's what Tom Brady did.
Yeah.
He was not that guy trying to go downfield. Now where Tom Brady and Justin Herbert are very different is that Justin Herbert is a way better arm than Tom Brady ever had. So Tom Brady had to dump the ball off more for short yardage just because he didn't have the gun like Justin Herbert has. So I'm hoping he puts a little more touch on the ball this next year. But anyways, that's kind of my long-winded thought.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, and we all want to see the next Brady, and how amazing would that be if it was
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, let's get to the Super Bowl so frequent that it just seems like it's automatic for us every single year, and we win a lot of them. I mean, how amazing would that be? And we'd love to see that. I mean, there's without a doubt, we'd love to see that. I mean, in my timeline of life, I'd like to see the Chargers win a Super Bowl. And
Yes.
how about that?
I want
Let's
that
just start
Trans Am
there.
tattoo.
I know.
I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one too, man. Hey, we're gonna get them together. We're gonna hold hands the whole
Believe
time,
it.
you know. Yeah, no, we're gonna hold hands. We're gonna have like the that whole bros thing right there, you know.
So we would
geez.
love to see that. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see what happens. I do want to kind of bring up how and one thing I'm going to go over a couple other questions here. Jared Hendricks brought up that he was really mad always about the fourth down conversions.
Yeah.
And missed conversions, that is.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I think we were either 1 or 2 in the league in converting fourth downs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Say it was 2, but we were like 66%, I believe it was, or 64% in the league, which is phenomenal. Like, that's a massive, massive stat. And it sucks when you don't get those fourth downs. I get it. And I mean, he's a very analytic based coach there, and that's why he makes those decisions. And sure, you could go back to that Raider game trying to go for it on our 28-yard line or 30-yard line and not converting and giving them only 30 yards to get a touchdown, which only ended as a field goal. And for some reason, I felt like our defense did well when we didn't convert a fourth down for some reason.
Right.
But
wow,
I think it was a pretty necessary thing for our strategy last season.
And our defense was garbage, right? We were dead last. We couldn't stop the run to save our lives. Hell, we were the speed bumps. 64%, 64% conversion rate on fourth down.
That's great. That's pretty good.
That's pretty damn impressive.
And I'm seeing that's 4th overall in the league. About how many the Bengals, Chiefs, and Ravens were ahead of us. About
and they probably didn't do as many attempts as we did.
No. We had a lot of attempts.
We had 34, and apparently, but we are still 4th in the league on that. That was the Panthers, Bears, and Lions. The Lions had 41 attempts.
Yeah, but they were running for their lives at that point, right? Got to go for it, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, they were just trying to make anything happen.
Right.
You know?
But I guess in those attempts, so like, let's say the Lions were 51% success rate, Bears were 41, Panthers 41, and then we were 64. So we definitely had like almost the most, but we had the highest success rate for sure.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, but and you know who that's on? That's Justin Herbert, right? Because 9 times out of 10, it was him throwing the ball. It just goes to show you how good he is and how. Yeah. I mean, that guy's got a cannon, dude. Yeah, dude. And he's at what, 250 now?
Yep.
Swolbert, dude. Swolbert. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. So
shirt
again,
is coming out. That shirt is coming out. I got all those shirts working that I'm working on it, and
nice.
We're gonna get all that merch ready though. So.
It's gonna be great.
I like it.
Yeah, I know Felix brought up too depth at the edge, or at least the right tackle position, and that's a concern for all of us.
Agreed.
I mean, we don't know what Trey Pipkin's going to be this year. You hear all the good things that he's working out with Slater, working with the coach there too, really putting in some work. The guy right now is at a point of, hey, I need to make something happen, or I'm out of the NFL, basically.
Yep, pretty much.
So,
yep.
So. You would love that he would come in here with just a whole new attitude and make things happen. I mean, Storm Norton's a tough one to really want to be at that right tackle position, but maybe he's been putting in work. Salyer being drafted, Jamari Salyer, like he could be another guy that actually could try to fill into that position. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. This is all going to be something that we're going to look at in the camp, and I'm not super concerned about it, in my opinion. Like, I think we have the right guys there, and then we have some free agents that we could possibly go after for some cheap signings for right tackle that would be effective players too. So I think we're fine in that position. It's going to be definitely a battle and something to watch during the preseason.
Sure. And I think that we should probably segue into our next topic, talking about Herbert. Our depth in the QB position now, answering Aether's question about Herbert and stuff like that, So I mean, look at our depth of the quarterbacks. We got obviously Justin Herbert, stud, absolutely. He's gonna be Super Bowl MVP, league MVP. He's gonna be the Pro Bowl MVP again. So Yeah.
Well, he can't be a Pro Bowl MVP if he's in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I guess that's true. He's not going to play at that point. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. 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 So, but okay. So I guess the question is, we have Chase Daniels as his backup.
Yep.
You know, that dude phones it in, bro. Like.
Yeah.
Like every single time he's on the field, he's just like, man, whatever, dude. Like, yeah, this is not his thing. I think that there was a meme that just came out recently where it's like, overall in his career, he's going to be making this year in total $41 million, and
my gosh,
he has less snaps than I have. And,
he started a couple games.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm just like,
so he's definitely got more than all of us combined.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah. Hey, you know,
just the thing.
I'm just making jokes, man. I'm just clowning around. Yeah.
just clowning, just jokes.
Yeah.
With him though, I mean, we don't. I don't like talking about injuries, and that's going to be one of those things that's going to be a concern regardless. I mean, it's guaranteed on there. It's guaranteed for pretty much every player to get some dings here and potential injuries and all that and such. But I guess the concern to that is that would Chase Daniels actually be a reliable guy if he's going to be the guy, or would it be Easton Stick? Like, you know, I think Chase Daniels is just kind of a secondary quarterback coach, in my opinion. And he's probably, if he decides to retire, he'll probably end up getting hired by the Chargers as a quarterback coach, which personally I think might have not been a bad idea, just to go that route. But is he really going to be that guy if something does happen? And so who knows? I think my hopes is that the Chargers go and just blow out a lot of teams, and then he could give Chase Daniels some time on the field, you know, and he could be out doing his thing. So if he's warmed up and acclimated to the offense, if needed in an emergency situation, he'll be ready, kind of thing. So I don't like talking about injuries by any means, because I feel like that's always an issue with our team. But
yeah,
hey.
It's a curse, man.
And unfortunately, guys, I mean, look, it's not a tickling contest out there, right? No. For sure, right? So no matter what, it's going to happen. I would personally like to see what Easton Stick can do.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think he's been sitting on the bench a long time, right? Clearly, Chase didn't get it done when he had his shot. So let's see what Easton Stick could do. But who knows, right? I mean, it's one of those interesting things. But, you know, going back to kind of, you know, Herbert, right? Again, I want to see him be the general on the field. I want to see him be the Peyton Manning, the Tom Brady. Look, he's a smart guy. What is he, a biology major? He wants to be a doctor. I mean, the man is smart, right? And so, you know, like he could do it. He knows the playbook now, and he could say, all right, I'm an audible. Hey, let's run it here. Just run up the gut. This is going to be open, you know. But I want to make one thought here too, and I really like your thought here, Charginista, about Horvath getting those tough yards. Again, he's a converted linebacker, right? I think it's funny when they drafted him, I was like, man, that's kind of a weird pick. But if you recall, if you've been watching the channel for a long time, the guy that I wanted the Chargers to pick as a running back was my boy from BYU. Yeah. And he was a converted linebacker. And he became a running back, and he did not go down. He took the first guy out. He would blow him up and then keep going. Yeah. And so he would get those tough yards. So I do think that Horvath, that's really what he's going to be. And I do think he'll be our starting fullback or bruiser back that we want to use. I think that's really the whole point of him is getting those tough yards. So I like that. Very good point.
Yep. Yeah. And Tyler Algier, man, he was a stud. Algier. He's with the Falcons too.
Falcons. So. Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how he pans out.
He could catch the ball in the backfield, which is crazy. Yep. But I mean, he will be a very good running back. Very good running back. I promise you.
Is he playing is halfback for the Falcons, or is it, you know, is he listed as a fullback?
He's a running back. Oh yeah,
he's a running back.
Well, I mean, half or full though. I mean, that's just the question though, because
I don't think the Falcons run many fullbacks typically, right?
Well, no teams really do. I mean, that's the downside is that, like, Horvath, he's a fullback right now, you know, and like the fullbacks are essentially going the way of the dodo. Like, they don't really have much of a place in the league anymore. That's my biggest concern. Sure, we could talk about Horvath or Gabe Neighbors and stuff. Which is also the biggest problem, is that, like, Neighbors is a friend of Justin Herbert, so, you know, so he has a connection there, and so that might give him favor over Horvath. However, I kind of pose this question to a different community. It's like, is it possible that we could see maybe a resurgence of fullbacks actually getting more of the carries in the future, because you see, like, Derrick Henry, he can easily be considered a fullback. How big he is.
It's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude, and he's just like breaking tackles left and right. Like, and if they start to find more fullbacks that have that speed and like kind of the juke and jive abilities, like of cutting back and left and right, we might see like more sets of actually just fullback plays just taking over. Like, I mean, it's nice to have a really fast running back, or whatever. But if they're fast and they're heavy, dude, why not make our system more fullback kind of plays as opposed to halfback plays? Like.
Right.
Well, it's the explosiveness piece there, Kyle. Right. So like Horvath is going to be slow. He's not as fast as Eckler or anything like that. No. Having said that, what you're describing is the Ravens and the Steelers type of run offense, right? Where you run to the edge or run up the middle and you start hitting people and you just start wearing out the defense, right? That's the whole point of their offense, right? So I think we're definitely set more of a finesse. But I will say this, and I did bring this up on a couple of our other videos. We could see some I formations, right, for those short yardage. Just give a real quick, run over to the fullback. Let Horvath go get those tough 1 or 2 yards, right? And so you could start seeing that a little more this year, right? I think they're pretty high on Horvath. I think he'll definitely be used. So absolutely. What was the other thing we were going to talk about? I know we were talking about offensive coordinators. Yeah, I know we talked about the right tackle. I mean, we can continue beating that up like a dead horse, right? I mean, our concern we could talk about all the time, but
line,
but I mean, look, I think bottom line, Chargers Weekly, they talked quite a bit about Andrew Luck, and they kind of went into that whole thing with Tom Telesco. And I remember thinking it's a really good point, because Andrew Luck did retire in kind of a wonky way, and Telesco was involved with it, Luck coming there. You are protecting your crown jewels, and the Chargers' crown jewels is Justin Herbert, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And again, I didn't think we were going to get a guard, but we got the best guard in the draft.
Yep.
But we're also protecting the best guy. He's going to help with the run game. He's going to protect Justin Herbert. He's just going to make that line even better, because, again, we're going to need to be a line of scrimmage team. We got to win both sides of the ball at the line of scrimmage. So it's going to be nasty. I really truly believe Zion, Mount Zion, right, Kyle?
Yes, it's Mount Zion. Yeah, it's the mountain. Yeah.
Man, he's just going to smack people, and our running game is going to be much better. I promise you that we're not going to have 6 yards on the left, and we'll have, we'll probably be 5-5. We'll be pretty even on both sides of the ball.
I believe so.
Which is exciting to me.
Yeah.
Super
and
stoked. That's it. Protect your asset, and that's necessary. And I feel like we didn't really do that very well, even with Rivers. So it's kind of exciting that we're actually
never did.
Investing a lot in the first round for offensive line. I think Chargers Weekly was even saying, it wouldn't even surprise me if next year's draft we do the same thing and invest in a right tackle or something like that.
Yep.
And for next year 2023 draft, all of a sudden we have a new right tackle. So we'll have Slater on the left, then some new right tackle. We have Zion there. We're still going to have a really solid line. Building that line is critical to protect that guy, because once again, Justin Herbert could be that guy that's going to get a $500 million contract like Mahomes. Like,
oh my gosh,
especially if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he's going to probably get $500,000 contract. I guarantee.
Easy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I said $500,000.
Yeah, you said $500,000.
Yeah.
We'll take that, no problem. It's funny when you said that. I'm like, what? That can't be right.
I'll throw some money down on that one. Okay.
Yeah, done, dude. I'll pay him right now, son. No big deal.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
shoot,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, I know some people in the chat were talking about the linebacker position too.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
That's a good point. Should probably talk about that as well.
The thing about that one is, we don't have a whole heck of a lot of linebackers, in my opinion. Like, and I'm speaking more the middle linebacker position. So thinking as in, you got Drew Tranquil, you got Murray, Troy Reader, Nick Neiman.
Yep.
Those are kind of the core four, in my opinion, that are going to be playing in that position.
Yeah.
Or at least where it's going to be at now. My concern is, and once again, I don't want to keep talking about injuries, but there are injury concerns there, and
always.
I do think that we're going to be a lot more of a 5-1-5 kind of defense, which I was watching a little bit some of the past games just to kind of observe that, and we're running that a little bit too last year. So, and even watching some of the old Rams games in 2020 when Staley was the defensive coordinator there was a lot of 5-1-5 on the field too. So
exactly.
My thing, and Troy Reader is actually running around all the field making plays too, which was kind of crazy to watch and fun to watch. So that is a concern about just injuries. I don't want to get too thin in that position. Drew Tranquil's obviously had his injuries. Kenneth Murray's has his injuries. Still hasn't practiced with the team, so hopefully in training camp comes up, he'll be healthy. So that is a concern for me. Too. It's just making sure we have the amount of players that we don't end up having some scrubs there, or maybe we're just going to end up pulling in some more cornerbacks or safeties up into the box and just act like they're a linebacker, basically.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I don't think they want to try to bring somebody who's outside of the system, try to fit him into the system. So they're going to probably stay within. So what if they put JT Woods at the linebacker position? I mean, he's a tall guy, kind of like a Darius Leonard player, in my opinion. He could be that kind of tall linebacker that's just fast.
Yeah.
And kind of a skinnier guy. But speed helps at that position. And I think that's really what's going to be required of that one linebacker if we do a 5-1-5 kind of thing. So who knows? Who knows? So,
I think, but I do think though, the whole Brandon Staley's defense is really pressure the ball, protect the deep pass, and try to get the ball out of their hands in a incorrect manner. Put some pressure on the quarterback, strip sacks, whatever. Throw the ball up errant wise, and have some JT Woods or DJs going up and getting those balls, JC Jackson, so on and so forth, right? I mean, the good news is the pass rush is going to really affect the ability for us to turn over the ball in the back end. So it'll be interesting. But the linebacker, you're right, is really kind of becoming, to some degree, kind of an unimportant part of the game for the Chargers, at least with Brandon Staley's defense, at least at first look at what he's going to be doing this year. 5-1-5, you need one linebacker. So you'll probably see a lot of linebackers we have right now probably playing special teams, which would be pretty interesting to see as well too.
Sure.
Yep.
But that will help special teams guys, right? Because that's the whole point. Is we've had problems. I mean, we were horrible in special teams last year, and I think a lot of those guys will definitely be utilized on the special team side of the ball for sure. Right. So,
well, even to say Brandon Staley even brought up that Derwin James is going to be the one making a lot of the calls for the defense. So he's the quarterback. And he's essentially a Mike linebacker now. So he's the guy that's out there making the calls for the defense. So it's almost like they're trying to simplify the position for the linebacker, so they don't have to make the calls now. They just have to do their job. And maybe at some point that they were trying to put Drew Tranquil in that position, or they were trying to fit in Kenneth Murray in that position, and it just wasn't working. So they're like, hey, Derwin, you're going to be the guy. You're the quarterback for a defense. You're the Mike, essentially, even though you're not a linebacker.
Right.
So I think that's kind of what they're trying to do, is simplify the defense for that position, and then just make them do their job, and they don't have to be the play callers at that point. So who knows? Who knows? I know it's one of those things I'm going to be looking at a lot with this team this year. So,
well, I'll say this though, I in a lot of ways disagree that we have a lack of depth in the linebacker position. Because I know Kyle Van Noy he wants to rush the edge, but I think we're gonna use him in the middle a lot more than anything else.
Sure.
Because
I can see that.
Because he's an amazing pass coverage linebacker. PFF ranks him at 84.7.
And
that's
huge.
It's really good, and he's gonna be able to be there and protect or block against the other tight ends or running backs when they're coming into the middle part from the side, but then not only him, but apparently Drew Tranquil is actually really good at pass coverage as well. That's where he actually shined. And at the same side, I think actually Murray is going to have a breakout year as well at linebacker position. He's gonna bounce back from because his first year was pretty dang good.
He was good.
He was really good in his first year. But then again, that was a whole different system, of course. So, but
Gus Bradley.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I absolutely hate the idea of a cornerback or a safety lining up in the box and coming to, dude, you're gonna take a 200-pound soaking wet dude up against a 300-pound butt and gut lineman? But dude, you may as well take a BB gun to battle, bro. Like, I mean, you're gonna see people get pancaked and just kind of like just do a little backflip, yeah.
I mean, Derwin's a pretty big dude. He's 215, 6'2". He's probably a little bit bigger than that. I mean, the thing is though, like Darius Leonard is pretty much that same size, and he's a linebacker for the Colts, and he's an absolute stud and won Rookie of the Year.
Okay, cool.
I mean, that guy's one of my favorite linebackers. He's kind of a guy that doesn't really fit in that position, but for some reason, he's awesome. He's like one of my favorite like linebackers in the league because he's just a real fast guy, very, very violent kind of runner. I mean, I guess he's same height as Derwin, but he's a little bit slightly bigger, as in like weight wise. I think he's at 229, I think.
Okay.
So but he's a stud. And the thing is though, speed makes a difference, man, because once again, butt and gut doesn't have a lot of speed either.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly correct.
Yeah, you can't
get around people.
Can't kill.
You got to remember, the ball still has to get moved down the field, right? So speed kills, and that's a big part of it. So I know Aether's question here: can the defense and the secondary be like the Patriots here when they won the Super Bowl because the New England defense was so nasty? I 100% believe that, right? And again, Brandon Staley said something really interesting, a while ago during the draft. People kept asking why he drafted so many defensive backs. Well, this is the first time there was 13 wide receivers were drafted in the first round, right?
Yeah.
This is a pass-heavy NFL right now. Running backs are dropping in value heavily, right? They are not running the ball because they get injured a lot too. You have to remember that is happening a lot. You pay them a lot of money, they get injured. They don't pay off a lot of times. So again, our secondary needs to be nasty. We need to be fast. We need to be quick. And here's the thing. Going back to Derwin James in the box, his edge rushing is ridiculous because he's so fast. Because it doesn't matter. You just got to get to the quarterback. He's not going to try and break tackles in most cases because that's typically when they get hurt. When they get to him, he falls down. I mean, unless you're like a Mahomes or maybe like an Allen, because he's just a big dude. But Derwin James, he gets people on the ground quick, right? Every time we saw him edge rush. So, and I will say one thing, and this will be my final thought on it, that Derwin will be in all the exotic packages. I guarantee he'll come down. He'll do man coverage against the tight ends. We play the Chiefs. I promise you he's going to man up Kelsey. 100%. He is going to man up Kelsey, and he's going to shut him down, which I think is great. And he's a perfect person to cut the tight end out. It is no longer an option. You got to go somewhere else with the ball, right? And that's a huge weapon. Huge weapon.
Massive. And I mean, even just to say, if we're going to go on and talk about the Chiefs and the matchups. So you start saying, okay, they don't even have the cheetah anymore. He's not the downfield threat anymore.
He's gone.
So Kelsey's really the number one target at that point. Yeah. All right. Derwin on Kelsey. Call it. That made a huge difference in the game, the second game against the Chiefs, how we lost because Derwin was out for that play. And basically that's how we ended up losing in OT. So the other targets they have is Mecole Hardman, who's pretty good. Marquise Valdez standing.
And Juju
he's
Smith.
Good.
Juju Smith.
And then Juju. So, all right, we got J.C. Jackson. We got Asante Samuel Jr. to work on those guys. We got, Michael Davis too. I mean, we got some guys that'll just shut those dudes down. I think Sky Moore will probably end up being the cheetah guy for that team. So but he's a rookie. Once again, he's still trying to figure out the team and figure out how to play in the NFL and everything too. But they could really stop that team pretty easily. And so it's going to be interesting to see that one. And that's going to be great for week 2. Week 2, Thursday night. Once again, that's going to be awesome.
You know what? We should ask a question and below. Are we going to start 2-0 this season? Are we going to start 2-0 this season?
Oof.
Yeah.
Beating the Raiders and beating the Chiefs. Are we going to start 2-0? Because to me, guys, look, I'll tell you right now, those are the two games, right? It is just like you talked about, James. Again, we need to start strong, right? We started strong, but are we really going to start strong this year? Those are two big games, division games.
Straight up.
And
right out the gate.
Out of the gate, man. I mean, that's huge. And I get nervous about that thought, but I mean, look, we could do it. We could do it. We just have to execute. And I think that's what it boils down to, guys. It's execution, right?
Yep.
Staying healthy, doing what we need to do, and playing sound football, and I think we'll be fine. So maybe we should talk a little bit about special teams, and then if you guys have more questions, answer or just throw them out there as well. We'll get to them. But so special teams, we were pretty bad last year, right? I get a little worried about Hopkins. I get a little bit, Scott, right? He's our punter, but I mean, he's looking pretty hot right now. So, we got a new special teams coach. I think we're going to be pretty good this year. And again, I think special teams is interesting. You can win or lose games with special teams 100%. I do think we'll probably punt the ball more this year because I think we have a better punter and we have a good kicker, right? I really think Long last year, I think our coaching staff lost a lot of belief in him. And, there's a reason why he's not on the team now. So I think Scott will do better. But again, we don't have to be perfect. We just need to be better than we were last year. If we were a top 15 special teams, I would be ecstatic. Just middle of the pack, I'd be fine.
That's fine.
What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, you want to go, Kyle?
No, you go. You go.
My thing, no Vizcaino. I'm good with that. It's interesting that he's on the Pats now. Now it'll be interesting to see if all of a sudden he's just lighting it up with the Pats. That would be really crazy if that happens.
I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. So,
the track record is.
Hey, I'll do a parlay bet for that right now. That Vizcaino is going to have an amazing year with the Patriots.
All right, let's call it my bookie real quick. Let's put that parlay bet in real quick. We'll put $1,000 on it. What do you say? He's gonna be like
20-0 as far as he's gonna have 20 successful field goals straight. And it's like, I don't know what the heck is going on.
What is going on here?
Such a joke.
It's crazy how that whole situation worked. But last year, I was watching some highlights of the amount of shanked field goals that the guy had, and I'm like, man, I could have done better than that. It's kind of wild to see. But the concern is that it's all adjusted and changed to a whole new coach. So once again, they're learning a new system. I mean, Dustin Hopkins is basically the only guy there that has been in the system, or at least was in our last year's system. Now he has to learn a new system. I mean, his system is still just kick a field goal and make it happen kind of thing. But it's the packages in front of him, the blocking schemes in front of him. It's the kickoff, returns, punt teams for special teams that still need to be figured out, and kick returns and such too. So, with DeAndre Carter, he seems like a pretty solid guy and everything too. All around, I think he could have some value on the wide receiver side of things. He had a pretty high percentage of winning red zone touchdowns too, so that's good. But I think with Andre Robertson, why he didn't come back is because he had that fumble against the Raiders. Last season. And I think that's kind of what basically killed his job to be able to come back here. So
agreed.
My thing is I hope everything can kind of work with J.K. Scott being there and not shanking some kicks, because I'm still a little unsure about him because he's kind of been bouncing around the league a little bit. Dustin Hopkins, I think, has always been a pretty good one. I've used him in fantasy, and he's done well for me in fantasy. And he did pretty well for us last year. The one thing is, too, the whole X factor of this thing, our kick game might be irrelevant if we just bolt up and don't punt kind of thing. So
bolt up, don't punt.
That's right.
Bolt up, don't punt.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, look, right? Like, all gas, no brakes, man. All gas, no brakes. I mean, look, like, we want to stick a dagger in their heart, especially against the damn Raiders, man. I mean, I just want to stab them, Guy liner, dude, just punch him right in the ground, a lawn dart, put him down, dude, put him down. And look, at the end of the day, also, I will say this, it's really interesting because, again, in the kicking game specifically, I always ask this question: was it the kicker's problem, or was it the holder's problem, or was it the snapper's problem? There are problems that can happen, and it's not just the kicker. The ball could be askew, couldn't be down correctly. There's a lot of things that can happen in the kicking game. So, it's not just the kicker. Yes, he's the one kicking the ball, and yes, he's ultimately the person that takes the blame, but it's not just the kicker. And so a lot of things have to happen for that ball to get into the upright. So I'm excited to see what Steichen can do this year. I think we'll be good. Again, middle of the pack is all I want us to be. Middle of the pack, that's fine. I'd love us to be more than that, but who knows?
Yeah, I think honestly, like, I mean, it goes back to our conversation on coaching. You know, like, I mean, it very well could be that our special teams coach was just trash, and you know they weren't coaching the kickers well enough. You know, but yeah, we got a new Ryan Fiken. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, he's our
Fiken.
Fiken. Yeah, so he's our new guy. He came out of Minnesota. They didn't want to let him go, by the way, because he actually he flipped the script for the Viking special teams. And so like, and he's gonna flip the script on us too, you know, like, but then at the same time, like, it's not the punters or like the kickers so much, but it kind of is too, because you know Ty Long took forever to actually get that ball off. You know,
he did. Yeah, he had like this long windup. Like, I don't know what his deal was.
Like, people could get to him every single time. You know, like, and sure, it did draw a couple penalties here and there, but I mean, it was not favorable for us, like, a lot of times, because of how many weird punts he had, like, in short yards and stuff. I don't know, man. So
it'll be interesting to see. I mean, now we got J.K. Scott, who's like 6'7", long legs.
Yes,
kicking punts. I mean,
big dude.
You know, it's interesting to see a kicker that way, because most of the time these kickers look like they're $180 wet, if that. You know.
Very true.
So tall guy. So I mean, we'll see how it goes and pans out this year. And my hopes is that it won't be a concern for us, because history repeats itself and has had many times where our special teams just cannot find a way to figure it out. And Money Badger, you know, he was kind of a stability point there for a little while, and then got shaky again, and then we had to figure it out again. And Dustin Hopkins comes in, kind of gets things worked out a little bit more for us. But the hopes is, let's have consistency in that one of the three parts of the team, so we don't have an instability once again in this team on that level, because it costed us games, and it became a major frustration with this team for a long time and for the fans. So
and that also explains why we went for it so often on fourth down, right? Our best weapon was Justin Herbert, right? So, you know, it's a big piece of it. So you know, one last thought. I know we're probably getting a little long in the tooth on this as well too, but any other questions, I'd say get them in there right now. But I was looking this up. I wanted to find out when the rookies had to report to camp. It looks like it is 25th. July 19th.
Oh, really?
July 19th, the rookies report.
Oh,
sweet.
And the 26th is when everyone has to be in. So
beautiful.
So that's what I'm seeing right now, at least. So it's nice that the rookies are going to come in and have a little bit more time.
Yeah.
I think they obviously should, now that they're signed. Hey, they're catching up, right? You know, with the amount of depth we have on this team, it's going to be really interesting to see. So I'm excited to see what type of news we get next week on this. It'll be very interesting to see what comes out of camp. You know, how rookies performing, kind of so on and so forth. That'll be really interesting to see.
Really good. Looking forward just to be able to see our players and their uniforms aren't
exactly.
around. You know,
and
football's getting close.
Full pads and everything. Yeah. So let's well, I mean, I'm gonna do this though. How about let's throw out a who's gonna get cut first? Who's getting? Yeah.
That's gonna be a while. That's gonna be a while for that. I don't think that.
Absolutely.
Soon right now.
Gotcha.
See, I think a lot of trades and stuff are going to happen with camp, right? What are teams? Oh, wow, we really have a problem with our maybe 2 injuries on the defensive line. Okay, where can we go get somebody? Oh, let's go get Tillery from the Chargers. We really like him. What do they want? You know, I think that's what's going to happen now. Depending on how teams are shaping up, that's when you start seeing things move around, right? So, it'll be really interesting to see. Yeah, for sure.
But it'll be exciting. So, you know, kind of just the last little point here. I guess I'm still putting that concern, and we chatted about this already too. But last point, kind of like to kind of wrap this thing up a little bit is, you know, the history of this team is my concern too. You know, we chatted about it with the 2006 team. I mean, even if we got to 15-2 or whatever, you know, history tells us a lot, and we've had dominant teams in the past, and then they end up losing, and so everything seemed in favor for us, and then we found a way to lose at the most critical time. So there's a lot of hype around this team, which is a great positive thing, but at the same side, I'm not going to really look into it until we really get to that point of, hey, I think we really got a team here and we start dominating in the playoffs. And
exactly
hey,
right.
heck, we might be the Bengals this year, and we might be the Bengals that actually wins the Super Bowl. And to be honest, the Bengals weren't too far off from winning the Super Bowl last year too.
True.
So I do think Joe Burrow's an absolute stud. I think they have a fantastic wide receiver core there and everything. But, there was failures that happened in the end that, once again, we even did a video early on talking about that Rams Super Bowl win was kind of there might be a little bit of home cooking in some way or another, talking with the NFL about making that happen. But hey, we're not conspiracy theorists at all by any means. We're just trying to say that seemed a little obvious that for some reason that Super Bowl was won in LA. So, so either way, my concern is the history of this team, and hopefully we get the bad juju out of here, and we could actually play up to becoming a very dominant team this decade.
Yeah.
So that's my hopes this year, and that's what I'm sticking to. And hopefully everybody's getting saged or something, if you know about sage, and saging everybody.
Get rid of the bad spirits, dude. Get rid of the bad spirits for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean that I really hope we don't, do well. Like you're saying, like with the history of this team, the Chargers are a laughingstock for the rest of the NFL because of the history of the team. We've been in the league for 63 plus years or whatever, and we've never won. We're one of 5 different teams, or I think there's maybe a couple more, but they're expansion teams, and so we're one of those teams that have one of the longest histories that have never been there. And if we can't make it happen again, it's just going to be the same old story of the San Diego Chokers and now the Los Angeles Chokers. Just we're going to be in that same category as the Clippers, where it's we just can't make it happen for the big game. And then the truth is too, this is something I've actually wanted to talk about on my own little video one time too, is that the history of teams with 2 or cities with 2 teams in there, one team always suffers, the other one does much better. So you look at the Jets and Giants. I mean, you go into baseball, you go into hockey. The same is true everywhere. So one team does good, one team doesn't. We gotta break that cycle. and I think we have a huge chance this year. And so
we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Agreed.
So
and it's Super Bowl or bust this year, guys. Right? Look. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous, right?
Yep.
Because I do think that, look, there's a lot riding on the line. And we've talked, again, to bring this full circle, right? Talked about Brandon Staley. We talked about the coaching staff. There's a lot of pressure on them. There's a lot of pressure on the players. I know, morale is high. Morale is high. Everything I've seen in camp, everyone is excited. Everyone's ready to win the championship. But guys, it boils down to one thing: execution. And that's been our biggest Achilles heel, is that we've, for whatever reason, just like you said, Kyle and James, and I'll say the exact same thing, we got to execute, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope to God that happens. Bolt up, guys. I mean, seriously, hey, we're here with you. We're going to be in the trenches with you. And I'm excited for the season, but I'm also nervous. So, realistic approach and view of our team at this point is we should be amazing, but we got to execute.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed, 100%. I mean, we're all ready for the season, and we're excited about the season. This offseason has been something we've never seen as a Chargers fan, and our expectations are high. But at the same side, we have our jaded side of us that's always going to say, "Hey, we've seen this before, right?" And we've seen the outcome of it. So our hopes is that we're going to just get in this offseason and make it happen, and let's get to that Super Bowl and win it. I just cannot wait for that to happen in my timeline of life, hopefully.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
Guys, I just want to wrap it up and say, man, thanks for joining the stream. Thanks for all the questions and chatting with us too. Like, subscribe, share our videos too. We love seeing all the other new guys jumping into our channel on our lives and comments and everything too. So once again, guys, bolt up, bolt bros. We about to be out.
We out.
Let's roll. Woo!